Pre-video disclaimer. This video is mostly me walking through the woods talking. You've been warned. Enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. So I had a couple comment requests for a video idea, and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So basically, over the past, what's it been, year and a half now, you guys have gotten a pretty decent look into my life, basically. Everything that I do pretty much from a day-to-day standpoint. Work for my dad, work for myself. My wife and I acquired this property that we're working on building at, which is actually right where I'm at now. So the process of going into that, as well as the process of cleaning up and maintaining this property. We also got the lead shed built. That was awesome. A couple people commented and asked about seeing some of the pictures I have acquired on these trail cameras. Now, Rachel and I have probably a couple dozen trail cameras across our property now. Not only are the majority of them serving as surveillance, we have a number of cellular cameras that basically are set up to, as soon as they snap a picture, they send it to my phone. So whether it's a deer, a bear, or a person, as soon as that camera goes off and it takes a picture, it's sent to my phone. While the other ones are just your standard picture taking trail cameras. They use these SD cards, and you see the pictures by going around and pulling the cards and swapping them out. Take them home, look them up on your computer and say, oh wow, look at that bear, or look at that buck, or who the hell is that? Unfortunately, I've had to say that last one a few times more than I would like to. Apologize for the language if anybody got offended about that. But I had a couple people comment and ask if they could see some of these pictures I've gathered. So I thought this might be an interesting short little video to kind of showcase not only the pictures and the picture quality that we get out of these cameras, but as well as to kind of take a look at a lot of the property and hopefully find some sheds. Yes, some sheds. Not your typical storage shed, but deer antler sheds. We are in the point in Pennsylvania here where the deer should have dropped their antlers by now, so that the buck can start growing their antlers in for this year. As they get older, their antlers become bigger, more robust, hopefully with more points. So in order to do that, they have to shed these older ones. Now sometimes they'll just be walking and plop, they'll drop off. Other times they need a little bit of coaxing, and I have a few areas where I know they've been coaxed, so we're really going to search those spots and show you the signs, what to look for, and hopefully find some sheds. So regardless, at the end of this video, I will have a number of pictures of the different wildlife we've seen on this property, and it's pretty impressive, some of the things that we've come across. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So this camera right here is one of your more basic ones. I believe you can get these ones on Amazon for as low as like 30 or 40 bucks. They're pretty basic. It just snaps a picture, saves it to a card, come up to it, turn the camera off, pull the SD card out, put your new one in, and you're ready to rock and roll again. You can set different settings. It'll keep a timestamp on, so you can keep track of when something walked, the date, the time, when something walked in front of this camera. And I already switched it out. Now the strap is a little loose, but your SD card goes right in there. It takes 4 AA batteries, and then you click it on, and I just got the low battery signal, but it still came on, so hopefully we can get another week or so out of this. before I have to change the battery. So it's that easy. Now, if you saw a little red light blinking, that's a timer before it'll start taking pictures. So this one here, I have quite a few bucks on this camera where they just kind of come walking up through here, and kind of just take themselves right up there. Sometimes they're coming downhill, so I just want to give this area a quick search to see if we can find any sheds. Oftentimes you might be able to find them closer to water or in this thicker stuff. Whenever the buck try to, crawl through there and sneak through there, the branches will help to coax those antlers off as well. So again, we're just going to give this area a quick little walkthrough, and if I find one, that'll be awesome. If not, we'll head over to a spot where I'm really hoping we can find one decently quick. I found 2 in this area last year, and hoping we can find some more this year. So let's check it out. So even though when buck are walking through the woods, walking through brush, there's things there that can help knock those antlers off, don't roll out walking through a field. Right now I am in the lower field here, where hopefully Josh and Jenny will be building. Walking through, because it is not uncommon for a buck to bed down at night in a field. Now this one might not be super ideal. We have a road, about 200 yards. I'm sure you can hear 79. But they'll bed down at night, they'll be sleeping, and then just all of a sudden, boop, plops right off. So, they get up in the morning and leave. It's not like they carry them with them. I actually have friends that have found a couple elk sheds. Yes, elk. They found elk sheds laying in fields in Colorado whenever they go out hunting. So, if you're out hunting for sheds, there's some things you want to look for, but definitely don't think, oh, well, I'm not going to find one in a big field. So it's at least worth a walkthrough. And, just giving this a quick glance, I don't really see anything that jumps out. That's not to say that they're not here, because antlers won't just jump out at you. You do have to look for them. Okay, so I'm in, as you can see behind me, I'm in some pretty thick stuff right now. There's just like a lot of little saplings in this little bit of a marshy area. Now, this is the area that I found a couple smaller sheds in last year, and when I was walking through here last year, I started seeing stuff like this. Now, if you can see it, this is a very old buck rub. I will put that at probably either the very, very end of last year or the very, very beginning of this year, probably when the buck were trying to get their velvet off. Like, that one is old. All the bare wood's pretty weathered. You don't really see any fresh scrapings of the bark. Now you jump over here to this one, and I'm sure you saw that right away. You have all these fresh shavings that are just hanging there. Now the wood is a little bit weathered, so I'm gonna put this at probably maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I'm not a tree expert or anything like that, but just knowing what fresh wood looks like and comparing it to the freshest spot here, it's not as white and as bright as it should be. So, but all this stuff's still here, so it's relatively new. Now I'll put that in comparison to this one here, as well as this one over here. Now you can see how the wood is still very white. All these shavings here are still hanging on. They're fraying at the end, so they're, this is relatively new. This one, as well as this one over here, and I'm actually hoping this one has some laying here. I'll probably say this was maybe within a couple days. And one of the dead giveaways is actually right here, is some of the shaving from the tree. So once you start getting into, here's some more. Once you start getting into a week or so, week, 2 week, you won't really see this stuff laying around anymore. It'll blow away, and especially with all the rain that we've been getting lately, that stuff would have been washed away. So I'm gonna put those two rubs, at 2, maybe 3 days old. So that tells me that there's a buck in here that is actively trying to knock his antler off by going around and scraping. They do this 3 times a year, mostly. Now I'm not a wildlife expert, but the 3 maiden times that they do it is right after their antlers are basically done growing in. They're covered with a thin layer of velvet. As that stuff dries, it irritates them, so they'll go around and rub that off. I'm trying to think of a timeline of when that would happen. Probably like September, October-ish maybe. It might be a little early, but again, I'm not an expert. Then they're going to do it during the rut, which is usually October, November-ish. They'll do this to go around and mark their territory, claim an area, claim doe, establish dominance, and then they'll do it this time of year again. Along with marking their territory, they're also trying to knock their antlers off. So I'm going to search this stuff pretty heavily through here, because I have a feeling there's one not too far from me, and I'm hoping I'm right. So I'm going to walk around, and if I find one, I'll let you guys see it. If not, we'll press on. Okay, so walking around down in here, haven't found anything yet, but I'm still hopeful. And I say this because right here where I'm standing, I am standing in a pretty nice sized deer bed. You can tell because here's the field, here's some thicker brush, and then right here all this stuff is flattened down. Here's more brush that's standing up, and then you have deer trail that are kind of branching off out of here. So the deer came off this hillside, came into here, plopped down for the night, got up. Now one thing, now keep in mind, I'm not a deer. I don't identify as a deer, so I don't know for sure, but I can make a pretty solid assumption that there was a buck bedded down in here. He woke up and went this way, because right here we have a semi-fresh buck rub. The bare wood is still pretty decently light, a little bit weathered, but we have it facing the way it was walking. Now, again, I'm not a deer, so it's hard for me to say, was the deer coming through here, turned and saw this and said, hey, that's a really nice looking sapling, I'm rubbing that thing. But I know if I were a deer, I'd probably wake up in the morning, hit that, and then cut through here. We have some deer poop laying right there. We have a very weathered deer rub right here. So it could have been the same buck earlier in the season marking his territory, because that thing's old. Take a couple more steps forward, and I know I just saw it as I came walking through here. Right here, the bare wood underneath seems to be about the same coloring as that one back there. So I'm thinking maybe he came down in here and circled up that way, or maybe he just hit that one real quick and then walked down here to this one and got this one, since the rubs are on my side as well. Now, this is what's called a rub line. They do this in multiple areas to, again, mark their territory. But as they walk, it's, especially this time of the year, I need to get this antler off. It's starting to bother me. So they'll just hit multiple trees in a row. And that's what's called a rub line. So you can always follow those. And it makes it a little bit easier, because it really kind of hones in on the area that deer was at when it dropped its shed, because hopefully we'll run out of rubs and we'll be able to search that area and hopefully find a shed. So haven't found one yet, still looking. They say the slower you walk, the better your chances are, because these things blend in really, really good. So keep your eyes peeled, walk slow, and just look at everything. If you don't see anything laying on the ground, make sure you're constantly looking at trees to see if you can follow a rub line, or at least establish one. Also look for deer poop. Fresh deer trails are always great as well. So yeah, again, I'm not an expert at this, but this is just all information that I have gathered over the years of hunting with my friends who are Huntaholics, I guess. They go hunting for everything all year, and they are very, very knowledgeable, and I'm lucky enough to know them, that they share all this information with me. So let's keep searching. So walking through the woods, keeping my eyes peeled for any potential deer sheds we may or may not find. I was coming over to this trail cam here. Should be right up here somewhere. I had to put that one higher up in a tree because I had a nice cell cam there last year, but a bear got it not once but twice. So unfortunately it did damage it. It was working for a while, fried out on me, so I had to replace it. So that one is now pretty high up in the tree. And it was funny, not too long after I put it up there, I did see some claw marks on the tree, like it was trying to get it again. So I know it's high enough that the bear's not going to get it. Downside is I need a ladder now to change that card. So still haven't found any sheds. Keeping our eyes peeled though. Yeah, just press on changing cameras. I'm excited to get on the backside though. I'm hoping we can find one or two back there. Okay, so I'm back in what I call the grove. There's a camera right here on this tree, and oddly enough, I've had probably dozens and dozens of pictures of bear on this camera, and that is probably at my stomach height. I've had bears sniffing it. I've even had a bear opening its mouth and kind of grabbing it. They haven't ripped that one down. They haven't done anything to that one, so that's pretty cool. And actually, again, all these pictures will be at the end of this video, but I have a few pictures of a couple bear fighting on it, so that was pretty neat. And then this is also the camera that I got a couple pictures of Tex on, and believe me, he's worth the wait to see, so stay tuned. Okay, so headed back down to my truck. I have one more trail camera card to change, but I mean that's not really that important. But yeah, I mean we came up empty-handed shed hunting here, and unless in the off chance I find one laying on the driveway on my walk down, probably chances are very, very slim to none. Might actually have a better chance of winning the lottery, which would be pretty awesome. Came up empty-handed, but you take it for what it's worth. Yeah, we didn't find any sheds, but I got to get outside. I got to get over to the Freedom compound here and walk around and just kind of enjoy being outside on this really, really nice day. I think tomorrow the weather's looking pretty decent, but for the most part, all next week looks like we're dropping back down into the 20s and we're actually getting snow. So it was really nice to get outside, do some walking around, do some hiking, and just get some exercise. I've been cooped up inside all winter, and it's nice to get out of the house every once in a while. So just if you've never been shed hunting before and you say, hey, that looks like fun, it might be fun to go out and kind of hike around and look for something, just remember some things to keep in mind. Look for deer trails. You want to follow deer trails, especially through thicker stuff where there's going to be bigger limbs that are going to have a greater potential of knocking the antlers off as the deer are walking and running through. I really didn't talk about it, but you want to look for trees that have fallen that the deer are going under or over top. If they're going under it, oftentimes that tree will hit it, knock it loose. Or even if they are just about ready to fall and they jump over the log, that sudden lunge sometimes will make that antler fall off. You want to check fields, check bedding areas. A lot of times when they're sleeping or just passing through a field, sometimes they'll knock off then whenever they dip their head down to get something to eat. If it's a bigger antler that has some weight behind it, it'll drop off and fall. You just want to also walk slow, keep your eyes open. The slower you walk, the greater chance you have of actually spotting something, because you're not trying to scan a bigger area faster. You're giving yourself more time to get yourself set up and actually see some stuff. And the most important thing I can stress, Do not get discouraged and give up after 10 minutes. I feel like most people that go shed hunting, unless you're a professional at it and you're a wildlife expert and you know exactly what to look for and how to follow stuff, more times than not, you're probably going to come up empty-handed. But have fun with it. Take some friends, take some family. Heck, take a couple beers. You don't have to be quiet when you're shed hunting. There's nothing in season right now. You can talk, you can laugh. You know, it's a great time to get together. I know I'm by myself right now, but this was kind of a last-minute decision of mine. So yeah, it's always fun to get out and do stuff like this. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning back in to another episode of Gunpowder and Freedom. If you liked what you saw, please click like and subscribe. Don't forget to like us on Instagram. Don't forget to check us out on Etsy. Our store name is Gunpowder and Freedom. We have some pretty awesome merchandise you guys can take a look at. Come back over to the video here, leave me some feedback, and yeah, that'll be that, and enjoy the pictures. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.